Hell no. We're in the freaking Bay.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
I can't wait for this conversation, largely because every time we have it, no matter what the hell's going on, he's fantastic. It can be Warrior playoffs, 49ers playoffs, but now it's Giants baseball. And they are finally on a heater, and they are capturing the attention of the Bay this summer for the first time. It's Willard and Dibs, and it's Hunter Pence. Hey, Hunter, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, it is good times. You are right. It is heating up, and it's been, man, what a pleasure this season so far has been. You're absolutely right.
Well, look at these last 11 games and help us figure this out, because they've won 9 of them, but their defense is all over the place. They're pitching. It's like coming and going. They're fighting, right? But are they playing great baseball?
I would say yes. You know, I honestly, so the last road trip that I got to call and you know, really be involved in all of it, and I got to be there in spring training, and to me it's like the season is long. It's a symphony. It has its ups, its downs, it's the waves of the ocean or whatever. But man, like when everyone was down on the Giants and they had that horrible road trip coming back to face the Reds and the Dodgers, and it was just like weird things happening, because like for my whole life has been the study of baseball, and just like watching the work that was going on in spring training. Like it's easy to have faith in this team when you look at it on a talent level in general, just coming in. It's like, you know, you added a Chapman, you added a Soler, you added a Jordan Hicks. Obviously what he's doing, I had high hopes, and it's like, let's see how long he can go, but it's been even better than I thought. You know, then Blake Snell. So like the talent and collection, you're expecting, you know, Tyro, you keep letting him cook, he's going to go off. But it's like it's a real team, and the way that Bob Melvin, the wisdom, and the way they walk, and the way the players are responding to him, with a Logan Webb at the top, what Kyle Harrison's doing, adding the Jordan Hicks, and what we have coming behind him. So like, I know this is a big, long-winded answer to that question. Are they playing great baseball? Winning is great baseball, if you ask me. But these are like grinders doing the right things, and like Pat Burrell and the wisdom and the way he walks and the work that's going in. It was a huge head scratcher when they were playing bad, because, or like finding ways to lose these games, because you know the work that's going in, you know the commitment, you know the talent level. It's like there's no freaking way, you know, that these guys aren't going to play good, and they're not going to get it done, and they're going to, you know, like Matt Chapman made 3 errors in 2 games, and you're like, this is a platinum Gold Glove winner and like one of the best third basemen in the game I've ever seen. So let them cook, and it's cool to see them catch that hot streak, get some young enthusiasm, and there's a lot more to it than that. But yes, they're playing good baseball, and yes, they are really good, and yes, they can even get better.
They've won 9 of 11, and a lot of it's come since they had the youngsters come up, and we know that the young people have given them an infusion of life in the clubhouse. But why do the young players do that when you're a veteran team that maybe is a little bit stuck in the mud?
You know, like it's just like your environment, right? And like, imagine just being a young player and getting that call. And a lot of these guys have had the call, had the nervousness, been sit down, and a lot of cuspy guys that have that talent level that can be big. We're watching, you know, Elliot Ramos, man, he's given some amazing at bats. And honestly, I think a lot of it is kind of the culprit of the undercurrents of a Bob Melvin mindset, of a Pat Burrell mindset of walking in that confidence, also being forged through the fire of failure. Wisely's had some tough stretches and making some adjustments. Matos, man, I mean, he's just a crazy talent that is going to be unlocked. Like, this dude is the real deal, and he's coming into his body. He's so young, but what an elite IQ, baseball senses. He's just like a ball player. So like, they come up and they're not in the environment of the tough losses and this deflating spirits that, you know, they've taken, where it's hard to like pick yourself back up when things are going bad. And these guys are riding a wave of absolute excitement to be there, trying to prove so they give you a jolt, because they haven't taken a little bit of that like spiritual hit that you take in tough times, and then they pop off, and then it wakens you up, and it's kind of like a chain reaction. So it helps to have a little bit of that movement, and sometimes, you know, let them give you and ride that, you know, the wave of that. And almost every single great team, you know, and even like World Series champion teams, has a young player, a balance of great veterans. And usually I prefer, if I like look at it in my study of the game over a long time, it is a very veteran pitching staff with a few veteran ball players mixed in with some crazy young talent. Like, you have to have both. and maybe a couple young arms too that are just really talented. But to me, that's kind of the mix and the recipe that you have to have, a balance of all of it.
We're talking Giants baseball with the great Hunter Pence right here on Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Hunter, you're such a big pitching and defense guy. You're always preaching it. So talk to us, man. What do you do with the Marco Luciano situation?
Yeah, I mean, your shortstop has to be able to play defense. Like, I mean, unless you're hitting 50 home runs, and he's gonna get there. But if you're not playing defense at the shortstop, and the Giants, let's face it, like, this is a team that's expected to go and make a push to win a World Series. Like, they're capable of that. They are talented, and it's expected. These guys know that they're good, and no matter, and they're overcoming a lot of difficult things. But you just got to play. You got to keep playing. Like, you think back to, like, even Marcus Semien, right? Like, this guy, it took him a lot of years to really turn into the defender that he became. But there was a lot of years where he made a lot of errors, and it doesn't mean you're not great. But you have to really master that skill to be a part of a team that's going to go and win, because you can't shoot yourself in the foot too many times. So as far as I'm concerned, like, let him play when we don't have anyone else, but you got to get your best defenders at short. Like, when Ahmed's out there and these guys that are ultra defensive pros, it's pretty insane. So we'll see what they decide to do. But for me personally, like, I think you got to get someone that you can count on, especially with our pitching staff and the kind of the veteran crew we got going. Like, this is where, like, like a Matos, like the fact that his glove can just absolutely carry you. Man, I love that. And I think that he's going to hit, and he's going to hit at an all-star caliber.
So when you look at Luciano now, and I know he's sat the last couple of 2-3 games, is it more important that he gets regular reps at AAA, or can he actually gain experience by sitting and watching with the big club and being coached through games while actually not playing?
No, I think you got to get reps. There's no better knowledge gained than experience. But at the same time, you aren't always at liberty with roster and who's available to make all of those decisions exactly as needed. Because just depending on who's healthy and who's hurt and who's not, you might not have a backup shortstop you can trust. So. Farhan and Melvin and the crew is got to juggle a lot of those crazy things. Like, obviously you didn't expect a lot of the injuries that happened and to lose a Joey Bart, right? There's just a lot of tough things that happened throughout the year, the season. So we'll see what they decide with Luciano, but I definitely agree. You have to give yourself every chance to win, and it has to be a stable, consistent, trustworthy shortstop with how good this team is. And unless you're like a talent that's going to hit 50 home runs, and Luciano may do that one day. We'll see, but he does need to play. If you want to develop him, you have to play.
I just look at him, Hunter, and there have been scouts for years who have used this phrase. Well, we're not sure he projects as a shortstop. So it's one thing when you're young and you make mistakes, like you've just detailed, but if there are that many people also looking at his body, his hands, everything, and going, I'm not sure he's projecting as a shortstop, it feels like the Giants have been stubborn with the idea of, maybe try him somewhere else. Why do you think they haven't?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, where else is he going to play right now in the big leagues? It's, Lamont obviously with the hamstring, but first base would be the closest thing. And is he a first baseman? He does have the athleticism where you could see, are the hands where Brandon Crawford's were? Probably not just yet, but like, these tools can be developed. And I think he does have the speed and he has the arm strength. He has a bigger body, but like, we're seeing a lot more of those guys do it. I think it just takes kind of reps and like I said, I really believe in being forged through the fire, but Chapman's going to be holding down third base, this season, especially. Second base is Tyro Estrada. This is our guy. So as of right now, like, maybe third base, but probably not. Or first base. And, it would take an injury or a couple injuries to make that possible. So I think keep him at shortstop as long as you can. The other positions, I think, personally, are easier to learn on the fly, but shortstop is the most difficult and most challenging.
Hunter Pence here on 95.7 The Game. We're getting word that Lamont Wade's going to be out for some time with the hamstring, which means Trenton Brooks makes his major league debut tonight. down there at 3rd and King in a big spot. Do you remember your Major League debut, and what advice do you give to Trenton Brooks, who's coming out here in the orange and black at first base tonight?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more information. The game has changed a lot. These kids are coming up, used to and have a good idea of a lot of this. But really, it's just go out there. It's the same with everything. And be free, be yourself, trust what got you here. There's a reason you're here, and there's a reason they chose you, and that's to come and help us win. So my advice to every young player when they came up was that, look, we're a unit. Every one of us is the same. We need you to help us win. If you need anything, come and see me. But, trust what got you here. It's the same game. That's your plate. We got your back. Let's go, kind of thing. That's how we kind of ran it whenever I was there. And I know he's got great advice around him. They have such an amazing, just even mental team for these young players, and so many tools where they can see. And you'll have all the research, and it's actually going to be a lot of times you have so many more tools at your disposal. So the biggest thing is be yourself, know that what got you here is enough, and go and trust that and let it fly.
How long does it take? Go back to when you got called up. What were some of the things going on for you mentally and physically, and how long did it take you?
There is a bit of a mental hurdle where, the agreeing that you belong. And to me, it was there was a moment where I started off kind of okay, and about a week and a half in, I was hitting 250, and I was like, that's not who I am. I'm giving these guys too much credit. And that's why I try to use that experience is don't give the opponent any credit. They're humans. You can hit any pitcher. You can hit any pitch. And I'd always played with kind of a mindset I learned from one of my junior college coaches the whole way getting there is that this is my plate. You have to throw the ball over the plate, and I can hit anything you throw over this plate. I'll set the tee up. I can hit it off the plate. So my thing was I own this plate. And as soon as I took that mentality, and I remember just being I'm not a 250 hitter. I'm going off. This is my plate. And I started just being, my personal self. I'm an aggressive person, and I was aggressive in the box. And so instead of being oh, this is a big league pitcher, I was no, this is my plate. Come and see me. And so once I switched that mindset, I took off that year. And you're still going to have your ups and downs and go through that a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's don't give them credit. Trust who you are. Do your homework. You're going to know what the pitcher's going to throw. We didn't really have all of those scouting reports and all of the data these days, so I was kind of going up there well, let's find out what he's throwing. I didn't even know the difference between a sinker and a cutter. I was kind of wet behind the ears. And but I did have the hand-eye coordination. I did have the physical, strength and speed and tools. But mainly that mentality is we are the Giants. We are the best team in the world. Come and see me, and let's go get it.
Is that something that's infectious too? Because it seems like right now with this batting order and the lineup, they're all kind of feeding off each other, and big hit is following other big hit. Is that something that you as a hitter can feed off of when the guys around you are having that same mentality?
100%, because this is a team sport, and it's a buying into each other, and it's a buying into picking each other up. The good times and the bad, and I've watched this team how they walk when they've taken a couple. They've been knocked down. And these dudes are still walking with confidence, and these dudes are still coming back and still thinking and grinding and spending time together and not pointing fingers. And so it's one of those teams that's next man up. We believe in you mentality and finding a way to win and knowing also the longevity of the season, that it's going to come in waves. And so you're just witnessing really, really beautiful baseball. And honestly, I've had this feeling is that they're going to just continue to get better as the season goes on, and they're going to get more dangerous because they've all bought into kind of the Melvin and the Matt Williams and the Burrow, the theory of let's sit around, let's talk the game, win, lose, or draw. Let's hang out together. Let's get off our phones a little bit more. Let's this is be in the dugout watching the game with the guys, seeing what we can pick up. So you're just seeing a really big rhythm of focus, of detail-oriented focus, of care, of fight. And it's that edge. It's kind of, it reminds me of that edgy baseball and the guys that we had. And it was a special group. And this is obviously they're right in their own path. But I'm seeing that edge again that makes you excited to be a Giants fan.
Hunter Pence with us here, Willard and Dibs. Hunter, I want to ask you about Blake Snell. And he made some comments yesterday with regard to needing spring training. And in those comments, he said, I hope that this helps teams basically understand that players need to be in here earlier. And so, with full respect to the fact that this may get better, I wonder what your perspective is on what went wrong. What has led to Blake Snell having an ERA of 10 here at the end of May?
I mean, obviously, like you want to sign that deal earlier. And I think it's a realization because a lot of players are like, oh, spring training is too long. And I was always like, man, I want every bit of opportunity to get prepared. Like, I love all of this. You need it. And especially like pitchers, right? Like getting that timing, getting that rhythm. And there's nothing in the world that you can do. And I had crazy off-season trainings. Like, I would do crazy psychotic workouts. And you come in the first week of spring training, even the first 2 days, you can barely sit down when you get home because there's nothing that can replicate the adrenaline that goes through doing that stuff in the big league uniform and metal spikes in spring training. There's just a different level of energy, of adrenaline. And so I think it's a realization to the players too. Like, hey, I need to get to spring training. Like, no matter whether you're Cy Young or All-Star, the practice matters. And I think he's just like, it's an excuse, but it's like true. Like, what did you realize? I realized that I'm really behind and I have to catch up. And this is where, like, even injuries a lot of times make me worried for some players because, like, it's super tough to just come back and get back in rhythm. It takes a little bit of time to get into that flow. And no matter, like, how hot you are, it's just tough until you get back into the baseball cocoon is kind of what I think Wade Boggs used to call it. And I always thought that was a really good phrase, is because there's like a cocoon of the rhythm of the season of being with you have all the access to the trainers and the thing and the game. And it just like, it forges you and it takes a little time to attune to that energy and that level and that skill of play.
Do you have any sort of a sense in your mind for, like, when, I like what you just said there. You're like, well, it's not just on the teams, it's on the player. We've brought up Scott Boras with the way he played this. Like, that whole off season and it taking so long, who's that on?
It's on both. It's a what is the new Post Malone song, man? It takes two, my guy. It's like, you have some help. I do love that song, not gonna lie. But it's a two-way street, and that's always and obviously I was a player and whatever, but I've always felt like I look for deals to be a win-win in life in general. I'm not trying to, take somebody for something. I want to give back to whatever I'm going into. And like the idea of both of these sides and even within the owners and within the players is different mindsets. But how can we do this that's the best for the game of baseball that we love and best for the fans and best for everyone? How can we work together because we can both succeed really heavily? And so I always like, and maybe I'm crazy, but I tried to look at it as like how we have this great game and this great fan base and we're doing amazing things for the communities as well. And there's a lot of opportunities. So like, how can we all really be honest and really create a win-win? That's what I look for in everything I'm doing. I don't want a win-lose at any point in any deal I'm doing. And I'm not like blaming Snell or whatever, because I don't know what his agent, and obviously Boras has been a tremendous success to some. That wasn't really kind of how I like to do it. I wanted to, with the way and I can't really compare apples and oranges. I have no idea what went on with Snell's thing, but I think players should also look at this and make an emphasis on, I need to get this deal done before spring training. But at the same time, you have a small window to play. And like, this is your only window to make money for the rest of your life that could take care of your family and change your life forever. So there's a lot to juggle there to really get the right answer. But I'm sure Snell is going to dial in and hopefully catch up. But it is definitely you're a lot behind by missing spring training. And I think part of even like the injury is like, you pay that much money, you're so excited to have him. And an athlete and a competitor is going to be like, I got this, I can do it, before they're ready. So you have to hold him back probably 2 starts before he wanted to go to get him actually ready. And that's just like impossible to do because he's not going to want that. They want him as soon as he wants to go. And it's a tough spot.
Hunter, great stuff, man. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Willard and Dibs, y'all take it easy. Have a good one. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's find a way to beat one of these great pitchers, huh?
I mean,
let's do it.
Zach Wheeler, that would feel good. I mean, measuring stick week, right?
I mean, hey, listen. The thing I said right before that road trip after they lost that really tough one with the Pirates, me and Buster were talking about it. You got to have some comeback wins. We literally said that, and they put that together. They're putting together all the little pieces that are the mark of a great team. Now let's go beat some big-time aces. Let's go get them. And I believe in these guys. It's going to be fun to watch. Do they do it? I don't know, but I'm believing it more and more. So keep going, Giants, and thank you guys for having me.
Hunter, thanks so much, man.
Best.
All right. Yep, there he is. The energy of Hunter Pence.
Yeah, the energy of 100 people.
Largely unmatched.